Hey everybody, welcome to Mixlife episode 21. Today we're going to be talking about cooling effects and refreshing flavors. So just some stuff to help beat this kind of late summer heat. I don't know about you guys, but here in Oregon, it's been like 100 degrees or 90, 95 plus degrees. And it even had like 110 last week, 112 or something stupid like that. Which is pretty unheard of for Oregon, so it's all record highs. I don't know what it's like around the rest of the country, but I imagine it's a bummer jam. So we're going to talk about staying cool and doing some cool stuff. Dave and Rick are here. They're going to say hi when they are done chugging their coffees.
Hey.
Water? Just water?
I look like a coffee cup.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm chugging coffee.
Really? Where's your Shasta?
Yeah, where's your buddy?
I am out of Shasta today. Instead, I'm rocking the Aquafina Lemon Lime, which is an inferior substitute, but Shasta still needs to hit me up for that sponsorship money. I'm drawing a line in the sand.
We got the Teddy's brand root beer, 60-cent bottles. Perfect.
Fucking balling, man.
Yeah. They're good though. I like them. Actually, it's one of my favorite root beers, other than like the really expensive Virgil's ones or whatever they are.
Yeah,
I like them. So coolant stuff, right? Like I'm a big menthol guy, but I've always had like a kind of off. I get an off flavor from Colada and WS5, less so from WS23 or Flavor Art Polar Blast. I really enjoy it, although I have to use it really super low. But I don't get a funny flavor from that. I'm not sure what the full composition of Polar Blast is, because I know it's not just straight Colada, but
I've seen the leaked ingredients for that. It's 7% Colada and 3% menthol. What's it called? Ethyl menthol.
I had to look, man. I don't remember.
Fresco Lot ml.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
3% that and 7% Colada.
Well, that might do a good job of like taming that funky chemical aftertaste of Colada. Maybe.
I think it does. I think it like prepares your palate for the Colada. That's
because when I vape, like
the only difference is 10% Colada versus 7%. But you can use more of it.
Yeah, you can. But it's pretty strong as it is. Like I don't really feel like the need to use more of it. So, but I don't
it's
get
not
that
quite
funky
as cold as Colada, but you don't need as much. But you can use a little more of it without getting that funkiness.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a more authentic, coolant, whatever you want to call it. But I'm a big fan of menthol. It's just straight like 5% or 10% menthol dilutions, or like Flavor West Jumbo Juice is a favorite of mine. If I'm working with fruits, it's pretty easy. It's a little sweet, but it's good. I like it a lot. Rick was just telling me that Flavora menthol is really super cool.
Yeah,
it's some weird stuff going on. I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of an expensive bottle of menthol, which it seems a little bit ridiculous, like recommending a specific kind of menthol, but they're doing something with it. It's really nice. It's actually really smooth, and with menthol, if I go a little bit too high, I get kind of a little bit of a sort of chemical taste to it. With the cool menthol, I can literally just drown a juice in it to the point where it like starts to gel up, and I'm still not getting any off notes. It's great stuff. But I like menthol too.
Trevor Walker just asked what the dilution for WS23 in the States is. Right now, I think e-cig is the only place selling it right now, and they're just selling it. They're selling it at 30%.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was just doing the 5-10%, but I just bought WS23 like crystals. I didn't buy.
Yeah. It's a lot cheaper to go that route. It's pretty pricey, the e-cig WS23, and I don't know where else to get it already diluted.
I just ordered the crystals on Amazon.
I know that Chef's right now has a pretty affordably 100 milliliter priced 100 milliliter bottle of WS23 at like 20 or 30%.
So 20-30%. So it's about the same. So that's about the same as what the UK is using. That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, you can order the crystals. I actually just ordered some of the WS23 crystals from Drip Hacks, I guess, a site in the UK. It was actually remarkably affordable. I think it was like 8 pounds or something, so about $10 for 50 grams worth of the crystals. Shipping for the entire order was like a flat $9. So I think I actually just made up like 100 milliliters worth of 30% dilution on the WS23 for $10 maybe, instead of paying $5 for 10 milliliters. Also went ahead and ordered in some of their WS5 crystals because they had them up there right next to it. I'm kind of an idiot, and I'll try anything once, so just mixed up some of that stuff too.
How do you feel about the WS5? Have you tried it?
So I just tried it. So it may be one of those cooling things that needs a couple days to kind of homogenize, but it's interesting so far. I mixed it up at 5% because theoretically by gram, it's a fairly strong cooling agent. It seems a little bit salty, honestly. Like it has like almost a savory edge to it. And where the WS23 is kind of like all up in your sinuses while you're vaping it, the WS5 has like more of a like tactile coolness to it on the tongue. Like you're actually getting a like cooling sensation in your mouth as opposed to just like cooling on the vapor itself. It's not bad. I have to play around with it a little bit more, but this has been my first experience with WS23, and I'm loving that stuff so far.
Well, that's cool, man. Maybe I'll give them another run. I tested them briefly, but I mean, cooling things aren't usually my jam, except for eucalyptus mint and menthol. Are my two weaknesses in that department. So I'm glad you got a chance.
I wanted to interject.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I wanted to interject and say that we're going to announce the parameters for the Rick versus Shindo head-to-head today, but we're going to wait till the end because we don't want to give Shindo an unfair head start to be able to stop listening and go mix, or have Rick be all distracted for the rest of the show. So we're going to do that at the end.
Yeah, I need Rick's full attention, right?
I think you'd be surprised how little attention and energy I put into anything in particular, but that sounds fair.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's been a busy month, so a busy summer really for everybody, I think. Besides that, so there's a lot of other ways to like kind of help make a vape more refreshing without having to just cool it, right? Like you have flavors like cactus. It can add like a juicy back note, right, that thins it out. Flavor Art Pear. It's a really good job of taking your softer fruits or brighter fruits and making them a little juicier and sweeter, right?
Cucumber
is a great idea. Yeah, cucumber is super fantastic. And frankly, there isn't really a bad cucumber flavor. I've tried Flavor Arts, Capellas, and Flavoras, and TPAs, and they're all good. They're different. They're all different, but they're all good. Like there's not a single one of them that I would say is bad. So they're all good choices.
Yeah, and I've tried the Real Flavor Super Concentrate Cucumber. I'm not a huge fan of those Real Flavor Super Concentrates, but the cucumber is one of the good ones. The actual cucumber flavor there is actually pretty great.
Yeah, so like Flavor Art Cucumber has a little bit of the rind, you know, a little bit of the edge out there for authenticity. Capella's Cucumber is a little more thick, I guess is the right word, like the center of a cucumber more than the outer edge of it, right? So it may be like slightly overripe, or you know, it's a little warm.
Yeah, I get a little bit of like distracting sweetness with the Flavora Cucumber.
And Flavora Cucumber, yeah, it's a little almost like borderline overly sweet. Like it needs something else to bitter it up a little before you go forward with it, like some gin.
Rick, is the Real Flavors one all top notes? Does it not have any body to it?
Yeah, it feels a lot like a Real Flavors flavor. I don't know. It's a really good flavor, but there's something about the way those flavors are built that doesn't quite click for me. Their fruits are a little bit less bad than their bakeries. It works a little bit better being top heavy as a fruit, but yeah, it's kind of lacking at base. It feels a little bit dry, like right down in the middle of it. It's a good cucumber though.
And TPA's cucumber is like a really good middle of the road, right? It's got a little bit of the rind that FA has, and a little bit of that kind of like cloying sweetness that Flavora has, but not quite as extreme. I think it's a good middle of the road. Like if you only want to use one cucumber instead of two, like it's the best choice, I think, out of all of them. TPA's cucumber. It's pretty straightforward. I like it a lot. It's perfect.
The best part of a cucumber tastes like the worst part of a watermelon. Just saying.
Agreed. And watermelon is another one that you can use to brighten up other fruits without like taking over too much. Like a small amount, just 1 to 2% of like Loren's watermelon or Capella's double sweet or double watermelon, not sweet watermelon, double watermelon.
Yeah, that Lorenz watermelon is mouth-watering.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's really good. And the thing I love the most about Lorenz watermelon colorless is that it's really versatile. You can use it as in the additive range at 1 to 2% and just get that sort of like uplifting faint melon back note, or you can really lay it on thick and take that stuff up to 7 or 8%, and it's not really too much, especially if it's paired with other like kind of bolder fruits, right? But I've seen it used up to 10% fairly successfully. So it's a really flexible, versatile flavor for like summer themed flavors, right? I think it's good. FA pear is another one of those flavors that you can use in a much wider range than you would think. At 0.25%, you can use it to add that back bright juicy note to whatever you're tasting. Or if you want like a really forward pear, like you can take it to 3 or 4% even, and it doesn't get really harsh or weird. Like TPA pear is really good, but if you take it up much over 3%, I start to get some kind of early throat hit from it. Some people say the same about an aware pear, but I've never been brave enough to take it over 1%. So some people say you can take it up to like 2.5 or 3%. But I've never personally tried that. What's going on in the chat?
Rick, can you screen share that chart from the menthol article that you were talking about earlier, or do you want me to do that?
Yeah, if you could do it. My internet is hot dog shit on a good day. It will actually be readable on somebody else's. It's posted up in the Discord.
I will do that.
I'll go ahead and mute for a second.
So yeah, I was searching for something about WS5 before I impulse spot it, and I found an article on Deeper DIY in Reddit that had a link to a big old scientifical article about cooling, but they had this really handy chart that Dave's pulling up right now, which I'm going to let him talk so it actually shows up.
I have to talk so that you can see the chart, but I want you to talk about the chart. This is a mess. Okay, what it does, it seems to compare menthol, the strength of menthol as sort of a baseline as far as the coldness, and then it has some cooling strengths for various other coolants, starting with PMD38, which I've never heard of, and going all the way up to WS5. It's got menthol at 100 because that's the baseline there, and then WS3, which is Culotta, at 150. And then it says WS5 400. I can't even imagine. Below menthol, there's WS14, which is 75. WS23, which is 75, and also I'm addicted to it like crack. MBH, don't know, MHB, 48. Frescolot ML, that's the other ingredient besides WS3 in Polar Blast. Frescolot MGA, 41. MDP, or 25 MDP, 40. Coolact P, 25. And then there's a 2RS MPD, 23. WS30, 23. And that, again, that PMD 38, 11. So I don't know, there's probably no coolant to speak of there. One of these odd lower ones might be what's in, I don't know, maybe that blue raspberry slush that makes you think of slush, even though it doesn't really feel that cool. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'll let Rick talk now.
Oh, yeah. So I was looking around a little bit and I was actually working on nailing down that slushy base all the way, and I wanted to experiment with some different coolings. So it's easy to find stuff like menthol crystals, and it's relatively easy to find Culotta crystals. You end up running into some problems actually sourcing stuff when you want to explore some of the other coolants. There's been a good amount of research on these because they're used in like cosmetics and stuff, but if you want to go ahead and actually get the crystals itself for themselves for something like Frescolot, which I was looking into, you got to go either through like a chemical supply house and get quotes and all that. I was also looking at some sketchy Chinese suppliers for it. So as if I'm not already on enough watch lists, getting a kilogram of white crystals through the mail from a Chinese manufacturing company sounds like a pretty good plan.
Hey, if you have a hard time sourcing some of that stuff, hit me up. I got access to the university. My neighbor's a science teacher. And he's a pretty cool dude. So he helps me out. That's how I get access to the lab grade homogenizers and all that other fun stuff I talk about sometimes.
Yeah, and so like when you're looking at mixing some of this stuff, I'm not begrudging anybody markups on their finished products, but if you start sourcing out crystals, you can basically generate an endless supply of whatever cooling agent you want. For depends on the chemical, but you know, a kilogram of some of that stuff usually runs about $80 to $100. It looks like. So basically, you could become your town's menthol dealer for a small investment and some lab glassware.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really into that, like when you buy in bulk, like the prices go down to like fractions of pennies per milliliter, like less than a penny per milliliter.
I'm probably just gonna get my WS23 from Rick now.
Yeah,
you got the hookup, man.
Send me WS23 in lieu of the money you've been sending for postage for the Mixers Club stuff, okay?
Actually, if you want me to just go ahead and include, I got an extra 50 milliliter bottle. I can just throw that in with the Mixers Club
Oh,
package.
God, yes.
Okay, cool.
I'm running low already.
Do you want some crystals, too? Because I think I have, like...
Rick's got it already mixed up.
I have, like, 2 spares of this size.
Is that 23?
Yeah, this is WS23 here. Well, this is erythritol, but this is the same size container. I have, like, 10 of these or 15 of them with WS23, WS3, and WS5 in them.
So you've been holding out on us.
No, man, you guys never fucking asked me. I told you when you need to find weird shit, hit me up.
And on the bright side, the cool thing about mixing from crystals is you get to feel like you're doing something illicit and bust out actual glassware, which is always fun.
I just do that shit in fucking glass. Like, I just do it in these, dude.
Oh, yeah, I had to add a little bit of heat, so I had my heat gun in one hand, and I'm holding the Pyrex in the other. It was pretty great.
This WS23 here, I think it's actually 50% though. So I got a little carried away.
You need to stop. I can only get so erect.
Right. This is the aftermath of what happens. I vaped this for like a whole week last week because it was like 110 degrees. It's 4% eucalyptus with mint and 4% WS23.
Ooh, that sounds cold.
It's cold as
Holy
fuck.
shit, man. I thought I was bad with the 1% cool menthol going on.
It was hot.
I say that eucalyptus with mint for sinus trouble. That's, yeah. I mean, I won't bust that out just for a heat wave.
Well, for me, like 110 degrees is like fucking life destroying, right?
No, that's just
we don't have any infrastructure to deal with that. Like it's normal in Texas, and you guys have like shit built the way that it should be to handle that kind of heat. Like my windows all face the sun, rising and falling. All the big windows in my house, so it just like turns my house into like a convection oven. So at the coldest point of the day, it's 90 degrees in the house, right? And then I think it's hotter.
Yeah, we all have air conditioning. We're real serious about our air conditioning down here.
I have like one of those like roll around units with the hose that goes into the window, you know, like that's what we have, and some box fans.
No, we all have central heat and central air, and it's very important to keep that running. If it goes down, it's an emergency.
Yeah, see, we don't have that shit. Like, so I just have to endure like the heat and all.
One of my most miserable summers was spent in upstate New York, where you wouldn't think it's all that hot.
It's fucking hot in upstate New York.
I mean, but what happens is you're 10 miles from St. Lawrence River, and when it gets hot, it's so humid and muggy, and no one has air conditioning. It's just perfectly normal there for no one to have any sort of air conditioning in their house.
No, exactly. And I always have to call bullshit on the news because they say it's like 40% humidity, but I live 2 blocks from the Willamette River, the second largest river in Oregon, right? Literally 2 blocks away from here. It's
so,
Rick, 40% humidity.
That WS23, I used to think I was getting addicted to DAP. Like, if a recipe didn't have DAP in it, I wasn't really interested because it just wasn't going to satisfy me. Sort of like vaping without Nick. It's like, okay, that's good. Okay, where's the butter? Now I feel that way about WS23 sometimes. Like, I just need it.
Yeah, I just now tried it for the first time, I guess, outside of a juice. I probably had in some of the BAM Scalicious juices or whatever. But yeah, that's the good stuff right there. I'm sorry, I've moved on from Polar Blast really quickly. That was like my waypoint for like 2 weeks.
That lasted like a week, yeah. It's
Yeah.
Culotta, Polar Blast, and oh my god, WS-23 stuff is so good.
Yeah, it's just obnoxious enough, and it feels like there aren't any off notes with it, which is really nice.
It doesn't work very well with creams, I noticed. What it does, it doesn't give you off notes like Culotta. Sometimes you put Culotta or too much Culotta in something that's creamy, and you get that weird cardboard taste out of it, and it's just not good. You just can't do that. You can't just dump Culotta in ice cream and expect it to taste like ice cream. It tastes like like you're eating the whole carton and everything. But the WS-23 doesn't hurt the taste of the creams, but it makes them thin. Like they just don't have that same satisfying thickness. I don't know why or how that works, but it hasn't worked for me. But it works really well with all kinds of fruits, and it works really well with pickle, as you're about to find out.
I'm psyched for the pickle, man. Actually, for the cream thing, that's why I was sort of interested in trying to track down some of that Frescolot that Polar Blast is using to see if that's like the secret sauce in Polar Blast that makes it not bad with creams.
Yeah, because it does work pretty well with creams. As long as you don't go overboard.
Yeah. Oh, everybody's muted except for me. What I'm trying to say is that hopefully this damned weather will change soon and I can get back to vaping stuff that doesn't have a ton of cooling in it.
Sorry, I was actually just looking at supplier Frescolot. I actually don't have that one. But I was seeing if it was on our order list that I'm able to order from.
And you're looking for the ML one, not the MGA. I don't know what the difference is. It might be minute, but the ML one's the one that Flavor Art's using.
Yeah. I have to call. I'll call him tomorrow. Remind me to call about the Frescolot. I bet I can source it pretty cheap.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, dude, just remind me. Because I forget shit all the time.
I'm just
Rick,
going to... Oh, go for it.
I was going to ask you what percentage you're using that WS-23 is.
I just went with a 30% dilution.
No, I know you did the 30% dilution just like e-cig. I mean, what percent are you using that 30% dilution?
Well, I have it on fairly decent authority that it starts to get weird above 1.5%. So I tried it out at 1.5%.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's cold at 1%. It's nice and cold. But I wanted to see how high I could push it, and I found that that thin line between pleasure and pain exists somewhere between 1.5 and 1.6%. I need to add for me and for that mix, because I got into a little conversation on Reddit about it in the monthly recipe thread of all places, because somebody posted one that has a WS-23 at 3%, the 30% dilution at 3%.
Yeah,
and somebody else.
Some of the chefs line are using them at 4 or 5%. 30.
Somebody WTF'd hard, and then it became a conversation about it. Apparently, it's different from one mix to the next. What is too much or too little? I don't know how that could be, but that's what they said. And also, I'm starting to think maybe it's like cocaine, where you need like more of it, or any drug really, where you need more, start to need more and more, and you sort of build up a tolerance to it. Because that same 1.6 that hurt me the first time I tried it, by the time that 30 mil was almost gone, I was used to it, and I liked it that way.
So chefs, I've been watching the chefs, like the UK market, right? And they use a crazy amounts of WS-23. The 30% dilution, like one of their best-selling recipes is, I think it's called guango, right? It's like a guava mango, and he uses WS-23 at 4%. 4%, and like
that hurts me just thinking about it. Like it makes my eyeballs hurt.
But they love it. They eat it up. They buy that shit by the gallon drum. They love it. It's one of their most popular selling one shots.
Like I said before, I got used to it. That 1.6 was so strong. It's like it makes you want to cry, but you can't because you're afraid if you cry, your teardrops will freeze. Kind of like being stationed at Fort Drum.
Yeah. Oh man, thanks for that memory. Like when you literally think that your testicles have just frozen to your leg, like that kind of foam.
No, you don't. There's no thinking. They have frozen to your leg.
You're not sure how you're gonna get them off. But yeah, so I think people get crazy about it. Like, I almost my series of one shots at our summertime release. I was gonna use WS-23 in them, but I ended up backing off because I couldn't vape it enough to see if it was like worthy, right? But they're using shots at one shots at like 3, 4, 5, even 5%. I think they have 1 to 2 flavors that are just like insanely cold. Now I don't know if that's just the difference because parts of the UK are way muggier than they are here, but yeah, they sell tons of the stuff. They love it. They love it. And that's cool. That's what they want to do. Real quick though, somebody in the chat, Cool Runnings 100 asked if he leaves his concentrates outside of the fridge, is it a problem? And I just for a quickly address that. It will actually damage your concentrates more to leave them in the fridge because flavors tend to separate when they're cooled under a certain range. So if your flavorings, if you're not using them up in 6 months to a year, like you maybe consider having a problem. But typically speaking, the only thing you need to worry about keeping refrigerated is your nicotine. Everything else is probably fine the way it is, so you don't have to really worry too much about heat. I mean, unless it's like 125 degrees in your room where you store them, as long as it's like relatively dark and relatively like under 100 degrees, like 110 degrees or whatever, it shouldn't make any serious adverse effects. You lose some potency over time, over extended months, but as long as your caps are on everything, like you're pretty okay. I wouldn't worry about storing flavorings in the fridge. Just nicotine. Keep your nicotine cold. That's important. All right, I'm done. Just wanted to answer that before I forgot.
Rick, what percent did you try that WS5 at? What concentration and how much did you use?
I made a 5% dilution just based on that crazy chart, and then mixed it at 0.5%, which I don't know. The jury's still out on it. I just gave it another shot. We'll see what happens with it. I have a feeling it's going to kind of need a little bit of time to actually steep into whatever's going on there, because right now it definitely tastes a little savory.
I want to see you do 30% dilution at 1.5%.
Oh, that doesn't even sound like a good idea. Well, I tell you what, just because I'll go ahead and try upping it with some of the 5% dilution. I just went ahead and made a 50 milliwatt, so I think I'm stuck on that for a while. But we'll go ahead and
melon base we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just using 1% wild melon.
Right.
So I'll add a shit ton more and see what happens. But
I imagine those coolants can get weird if you use them too low.
Yeah, that might be part of it. Okay, I just dumped a bunch of extra in here, so we'll see what happens.
All right, so did you measure it, or did you just go for it?
Just went for it. Yeah, it's not bad. It doesn't really seem to be hitting my sinuses though. Like it all seems to be like actually like in the mouth. Like I'm getting like a topical cooling sensation from it, but it doesn't really seem to be working on my sinuses in the same way that WS23 or even like Culotta is. Okay, yeah, there's a little bit more coolness to it. It actually isn't overwhelming, which probably means that I broke something in my taste buds, but it's interesting. The one thing that I do like is like menthol for me has that sort of initial cool hit to it. With Culotta and WS23, it seems like, you kind of vape through it and you get it on the back end. With menthol, you kind of get that initial burst of coldness, and I'm getting some of that initial burst of coolness. So it might be interesting.
Does it have a menthol flavor though? Like, because I don't like menthol very much, and I get especially annoyed when there's a menthol taste to something where there shouldn't be a menthol taste.
I don't get any menthol flavor from it. It feels like there might, I don't really get like a mint flavor from it. I do get that kind of savory, salty note out of it though. And I'm definitely feeling this one on my lips too. Like it feels like it's geared towards like topical action as opposed to like inhaled action.
Well, I wonder Because WS5, like it still has that kind of like. Are you still getting that funky savory note? Like I use it at 1%, I think, and I still got like that kind of funky like. It's not salty. Salty is not the right word, but it's I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, it's like I don't know. My asshole cat over there. See him? He's about to open up the door.
And
weren't these WS things were originally used in shaving cream?
Yes.
And that's why you can vape it and blow it on your skin and actually feel the coolness.
It's pretty weird stuff. I need to mess with the WS5 some more. I didn't give this summer very much time for coolants. I was just really focused on like some straightforward stuff this summer. So, yeah, I have vaped like a 30 ml worth of Flavor West Jungle Juice. So I love that stuff.
There's something wrong with you.
No, dude, it's good, man. What's wrong with you? It's like this, like kind of like grape-ish menthol. Like, there's like a vague bit of like grape or watermelon in there. It's good, man.
It's Flavor West hawk sauce, right?
Basically, well, Flavor West capsicum is hot sauce. Yeah, we can talk about
I
that.
meant hawk sauce from
Hawk
Mount
sauce.
Baker Vapor.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is, right? So hawk sauce is like it's like fucking 10% jungle juice and like 10% fucking watermelon candy. I'm pretty sure, or some shit like that, or grape soda, one of the two. I can't remember.
That sounds terrible.
Well, I mean it's Mount Baker, right? Like they, it
Yeah.
is still cheap budget juice, right?
Well, and back in the day before the DIY thing, before I got on the DIY thing or whatever, it was actually one of the better outlets for cheap juice. I mean, it wasn't good juice, but it sure the fuck was cheap.
It was never bad juice though either. Like it's just juice. Like it did the job. It didn't fucking make you hate your life. You didn't think, why did I spend $3 on this? It was fine the way it was, right? It's like going to McDonald's, right? Like it's not that great. It doesn't taste good, especially good, but it doesn't taste especially bad either. It was a pretty reliable source back in the day. And a lot of those recipes and those popular juices got popular like way back in the Ego days, right? Like Ego pens and shit. But they didn't reformulate their line after, you know, the Sub-Ohm craze, where you can taste a lot more out of a juice. So there's something to be said for that. But them and White Label were my like two places that I ordered from until I decided to say fuck it and made my own.
And Mount Baker had that make your own juice thing, which always turned out awful, but I was super excited about it every time I did it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because it's just, like, I'm pretty sure Mount Baker just uses Flavor West. I don't think they might use a few TPA flavorings, but it's almost all Flavor West. Because they had, like, a wholesale deal, right? So they were getting it, like, fucking, they're dirt cheap.
Just fucking gallons of jungle juice going through there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they had to order it in, like, 55-gallon drums every day, every week, you know? Excuse me. Some burps today, man. I had some. My girlfriend made these delicious spicy waffles.
I think we covered coolants pretty well. What about things that you just do not want to vape during the summer that you would like to vape at other times, like things to avoid?
Heavy flavors. I don't like heavy bakeries, so like vanilla custard, like cat vanilla custard, which is one of my favorite flavors ever. I don't like it anytime it's hot outside because it's just so goddamn heavy, and it leaves like that kind of like thick vanilla sweetness in your mouth that you just drink a glass of fucking milk, right? I can't do that in the summer heat. I don't like any heavy creams. I barely vape any creams at all in the heat, or bakeries. Maybe some cookies. Oh, Train thought my cat was a dog, guys. Thanks, Train Tonic, for keeping an eye out for my cat.
Eats dogs.
That giant thing is a cat, not a dog. He can come in and out as on his own. He can open the door. He knows how. He's lurking right outside the door. I can see his tail right there. You see it in the gap there? He's just waiting for like the least opportune moment to like fucking jump in here and attack me. Last night, that enormous cat like jumped all the way up the back of my chair here and like reached over and like grabbed the back of my shoulder. Terrified me. I was like neck deep in a video game. Scared the living shit out of me. Yeah, he's a big cat.
Oh, yeah, no,
Go
your
ahead.
cat's fucking gigantic. It's terrible.
Right.
I was gonna.
Go ahead. So, I'm like,
I was gonna say that that's kind of one of the struggles of like getting your mixes set for the right season. So like right now, theoretically, everybody should be working on like their big, heavy fall mixes just to get them out there and get them nailed down by the time that the weather turns. But I have zero interest in working on fall stuff. So I think that's kind of why I'm like finishing up my summer mixes at the end of summer after the point where they're actually useful, is because I've just wanted to vape that cooling. I think there's like a certain element of actually having to sit down and like develop for a purpose as opposed to just doing it for fun, if you want to sort of like counter that seasonality of it all. Because right now I should be like on bakeries and tobaccos and stuff, but all I've wanted to vape is just menthol and cooling and just cram ice cubes in my sinuses, basically.
Yeah, I've got some pumpkin stuff that's set down steeping, but I'm just not in any kind of hurry to test it. I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, and that's kind of why my slushy base. So I had this like awesome idea for a slushy base, and I'm like, okay, no, fuck it, we'll get it done before it gets hot. If it's going to get any like DIY traction or whatever, it will do it when the weather actually turns. No, I just went ahead and put that off until it was already too balls hot outside, and so the entire development process is taking place in like August. It's something to actually sort of work with if you want to get some recipes out there.
Question in chat real quick. I think for me, like, I think Oregon's going to have another Indian summer. We're going to have a late summer, where our summer weather is going to carry over into fall, and it's likely probably the same for you up there in Washington. Dave beat me to it. So I think when I start moving into fall, I'll start looking at like fall themed flavors that can still be kind of refreshing, like ciders, like apple ciders and pear ciders.
Yeah, but the spices in those.
The spices are a little more, but it's a better balance, versus like a warm fall than it is like fucking 2% Flavor West yellow cake, right? Like something big, heavy bakery. Lorraine cream cheese icing, or all my other typical favorite bakery approaches. All that butter, but I can't take all that butter in the fall. At least not the fall here. Last fall was hot late too. Like we had hot weather up until October.
Well, I grew up in Western Washington, where you're dealing with all that crazy humidity and stuff. And the falls out there can get absolutely brutal when the temperature doesn't end up going down until, the middle of October. Out here, it's nice and dry, but, we start having really cold nights, like starting in September. So,
yeah, I'm in the west part of the state, so it's definitely going to stay hot longer. I keep forgetting that you're more eastern and kind of out of the valley.
So now that we've resorted to talking about the weather, I'm going to go ahead and start talking some shit, if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, we got like 20 minutes left.
Oh, this should be fun. Yeah, you've got about 6 minutes to talk your shit, and then you're going to get parameters dropped on you.
Shindo, feel free to light him up in chat, all right?
Yeah, no, go ahead and light me up in chat. That works just fine. I just wanted to state for the record, I'm excited for this challenge. I think Shindo is an interesting mixer. I like what he's doing, sort of a little bit outside of the box. That kind of speaks to me. But with that said, I am going to systematically pick him apart, and I will pick anybody else apart that they decide that they want to throw at me. So the entire thing is, I'm not just a mixer, but I'm kind of a monument at this point, and I would like my entire goal is to just destroy all these false DIY idols. So, after I beat Shindo, if you guys want to go ahead and come up with some other like new hype mixer to throw against me, I'll destroy them too. It's my entire goal to just level this community.
I like Shindo back with the single one line. You're the size of a monument.
Yeah, and that's like 320 pounds of pure fucking mixing fury that you're not ready for, buddy.
Yeah, that's good.
You know why I'm so big? Because I'm mixed. I'm stationary for a reason, man. This is all just padding for the mixing machine. It goes straight into the sheer mixing genius that I'm going to muster and bring against you and whatever weak ass DIY or die approved stuff you try to bring in here. Okay, that was my shit. I was just pointing out this isn't so much even about Shindo, but it's about like a concept and idea. Really, I'm fighting for freedom more than anything else and tearing down those monuments from the temple.
All right, so Dave, help me out here if I screw up or do this one. If you want to do
I'll do it. I'll do it. Correct me if I mess up. Okay. So, Rick, what you guys have to do, you have to remix one of the top 10 recipes on all the flavors. You're not allowed to use any of the ingredients in the recipe that you choose to remix. Does that make sense?
So what you're telling me is I'm doing strawberries and cream then. Well, remember that risk and innovation is still a factor, right? Like risk and creativity. So I mean, if you want to remix the strawberries and cream and lose, go ahead and take Skittles' recipe.
Yep. Here are your options. I'll go ahead and read them. One is grape juice. One is, I don't know how you're going to do that without grape and cactus, but sugar cookies and cream. Dinner Lady Lemon Tart Remix. God Milk. I hope none of you tried to do that one, neither of you. Apple Butter. Sad Lad Toast Crunch. The new Pistachio RY4. Longing, If You Like Pina Coladas, and Mother of Dragon's Milk.
That's pretty cool how 3 of those are yours just right at the end there.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
You're like super popular, but not that popular. It's great.
Right, so you can't use the same flavors that are in the, you can use the same profile, but you can't use the same flavorings that are in the original recipe.
Yeah, that's the idea. You have to use the same profile. You could be creative, but you have to use the same profile. Explain how it's the same profile if you need to. But you can't use any of the original ingredients in whatever recipe you're remixing.
Okay, so my big question is, how do we know what ingredients that are open, what you guys actually have in stock?
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Your first recipe is due in what did we say? 48 hours.
48 hours or so. 8 p.m. Tuesday.
8 p.m. Tuesday.
Central on Tuesday.
8 p.m. Tuesday, right? 8 p.m. Central on Tuesday, and then we'll allow for 1 revision to match what we have in our stash, right? I'm willing to order a few extra flavors if we need to make it work if we need to. If we can pull it off without too many orders, but yeah, set your first recipe, and then you'll be allowed a 24-hour period for revisions. If I have to order the entire recipe, that we'll have to revise, right? But otherwise, 5 flavors, any manufacturer available in the United States. That's it.
And as far as steep time, these are going to be mixed on Thursday evening and or by Thursday evening and judged on Sunday afternoon. So that's how long you've got.
3 days steep to plan for, even though you won't have 3 days to steep your recipe. They will be steep 3 days before.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, this should be fun.
Shindo, you good? Give me a thumbs up or a dicks out for Harambe in chat.
Shindo's already left. He's already
still breathing.
Shindo's already fucking mixing right now.
Yep, he's gone. He's mixing.
Right.
This is why I wanted to do it at the end, because I knew that would happen.
He's got like 6 10 ml bottles up his nose right now.
No, not most popular or most mixed. Sort by ratings. He's asking good questions, actually. Do I need to read them again?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me write that shit down here.
Or screen share. I'll screen share and read them. All right. Share screen. I am screen sharing. I'm going to show you how to get these. This is a much better metric because people will look for any number of reasons, and they will and that's where you get the most popular. and that's sort of a silly thing to try to shoot for, you know. You could just be a naked lady for the picture, and there are all your views, you know, somebody's butt or whatever. Here you go to recipes, filter, buy rating. These are things that people have actually tried and responded to. There's number 1, grack juice, sugar cookies and cream, number 2, dinner lady lemon tart remix, number 3, god milk, number 4, apple butter, 5, sad lad toast crunch, number 6, the new pistachio RY4, number 7, longing, number 8, if you like pina coladas, number 9, and mother of dragon's milk, number 10. Okay.
All right, so Tuesday at 8 p.m., you get your recipes to myself or Dave. Well, myself and Dave. But you can just message to one of us and we'll send it to the other. We'll get a mix. And Adam, yes. I think Adam's judging still.
Okay.
And then
shots fired, man.
And then we'll have a brief review that evening to see if we can pull off all mixing it without having to order flavors, or if we're gonna need to do a revision. So otherwise, because I want to try to keep it as open as possible as far as flavorings you can use, but since we're not allowing you to use the same flavors in each recipe, but at the same time, like I can't afford to order like 30 flavors, you know, 10 flavors for 3 new mixers.
Oh, we left out a very important rule. You get 5 ingredients.
Oh, I said that already, but that's okay.
Okay.
Good to reinforce. 5 ingredients to do.
5 ingredients. That's it.
5 ingredients. I can count to 5. We may be okay there.
Are you sure? I know you're missing that one pinky, so.
That was an accident. It involved a very unhappy woman of the night. Let's not talk about it. So I will go ahead and talk about the stakes that Shindo and I have discussed. So just speaking personally, I kind of have a bit of an iron stomach, and I vape gross shit for entertainment more than anything else. So we figured that we needed to kind of step the game up a little bit. So the winner of this competition is going to be tasked with developing a recipe in honor. The loser of this is going to be tasked in developing a recipe for the winner of the competition. And we're talking about like a sincere, like love letter to everything that I do great that Shindo is going to have to mix up. It's going to have to reflect my personality, my stunning beauty, the overall character. But yeah, we thought that that'd be a little bit of fun, make it a little bit more positive for anybody who loses.
Wait, so the loser has to mix the recipe in tribute too?
Yes. So I will either be mixing a recipe praising Shindo to the heavens and trying to come up with something that's worthy of his greatness, or more likely he's going to have to be dedicating something that captures my very certain je ne sais quoi.
I like it.
It's not going to be like that Wayne's Milk, is it?
Gay/fic. Is there non-gay/fic? Anyways, yeah, /fic's probably not the way that I'd go about it, but if that's what Shindo wants to do, that's cool too. I mean, I just see it as flattering.
Effectified, how fast can you get those samples out? Can you get them to us before Sunday? If they get you the recipes on Wednesday or Tuesday. Effectified is volunteering to ship samples out.
That's pretty cool.
That's a man with a wall of flavors right there. That's a pretty good offer.
He's probably, other than myself, he's probably got the highest chance of having all the flavors you probably use anyways.
Well, and he's actually got a chance of finding them within a 48-hour period.
Yeah, that's my problem. Like, I probably have more flavors than him, but I can't find them all.
Yeah, I like that idea. 3 milligrams. Please. Thanks for the giveaway.
Yeah, 3 milligrams. Thanks for the chance. Apex, if you're cool with that, I'll help spring for shipping.
I would also like to
like overnight it, I think, or at least priority.
He'd have to do 3 days. If he ships it on Wednesday, if he gets the recipes Tuesday night, ships it on Wednesday.
I'd also like to give a quick shout out to N Hall, who's in the chat right now. He went ahead and sent me a 10 milliliter of Flavor Art bacon and a 3 milliliter of Flavor Art bone marrow. So that's absolutely fantastic. Just giving that shout out.
Do the back of the hand with the bone marrow right now.
I'm kind of excited for the bone marrow. The bacon, I think I know what it's going to taste like. The bone marrow, yeah, the bone marrow is going to be interesting. Also, this is the most adorable little bottle in the entire world, the little 3 milliliter.
I think I actually have a bunch of those that Chiva sent me a long time ago. They're pretty cool. All right, Apex, I'll hit you up after the show. We'll work out the deets. I'll get you addresses. I think I have everybody's.
Kind of tastes like dog food smells. It's actually not that bad. I mean, it doesn't have quite that amount of kibble. It almost, I think it was Method or Joel who was saying that it kind of tastes like beef stock. And I could definitely see the beef stock thing. It even seems to have like a little bit of an herbal note to it. I'm not mad at it, but we'll see what happens with it. I think I've got that grilled peach recipe that I need to submit for Mixers Club this month. I'm going to try to swap out the peaches for figs and then add some bone marrow into it to see what happens with that.
It doesn't vape like it tastes. I just want to make you aware of
that. Okay, well, that should be horrifying.
Very clear.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. At first, I thought that their challenge, what the loser has to do instead of the vape of shame was kind of not heterosexual. But it's not. It's not fair to make Rick vape gross things if he loses because he does it on purpose. He does it for fun.
Yeah, there's something deeply wrong with me. I think this plays to something that I would like to avoid more than vaping something gross, was just like a little bit of momentary pain. Like I would have to actually pour some effort and some heart and soul into something, which for somebody as jaded and dead inside as I am, that's a pretty big challenge.
You'll have to think about someone else besides yourself. That's going to be hard.
Yeah, you can ask anybody that I'm related to. It doesn't happen all that often.
All right. Any last minute questions from chat? We're hitting the end of our stride here for the day. Apex Fight, I'll definitely hit you up like immediately following this while we do our little powwow or whatever. In fact, yeah, just get in the EGN Discord. Click on that fucking Hangouts link or whatever.
Just smash that Hangouts link button.
Flavor of bacon was actually like it wasn't as bad as Capella's bacon. I tried Capella's bacon too. Capella's bacon like tastes like a greasy bear bag. The Flavor of bacon was still pretty expensive. Flavor of roast beef was the only savory flavor they had that didn't make me want to shoot myself in the face. It was actually pretty good. I mean, your house smells like a deli afterwards, but it's not bad.
Yeah, that bacon doesn't. I mean, I've had a couple novelty bacon flavors. They're probably Hankson. This one doesn't actually taste that bad. There's nothing like weird or chemical about it. It just
the actual flavoring in food isn't bad at all. It's really good. It just doesn't vape well. And I wouldn't use an important atomizer for it.
Oh yeah, no, I've got some real junk around here that I need to go ahead and throw away.
Yeah, I just got this. Somebody, I don't know, some person at work was like, just had a bunch of random shit they were trying to get rid of for dirt cheap, so I bought it for like $10, and I got like that indestructible RDA, and it's garbage. It's the worst RDA I've ever seen. It has so much airflow, there's no way, and you can't close it off like nearly enough, even if you fill the chamber with enormous claptons. Like, it's way too much airflow.
Well, I think I'm going to dedicate the clone tugboat RDA from 2 years ago to testing the bacon. So we'll see what happens.
JFM Development wants to know if you comb your mustache because it's beautiful.
This may surprise some people, but I don't put a ton of effort into my personal appearance. I know it's confusing, but
Man,
this is just au natural.
Yeah, see, I mean, I'm really bad. Like, I don't even get haircuts like nearly as often as I should. Like
Yeah, neither do
guess
I.
get it in like June, I think, July. I can't remember. Early July or late June. I'm pretty sure it was June.
This is all just like facial grease and secondhand vapor just filtering through it. It gives it like a nice lustrous shine.
I think there's actually a little bit of orange still in there. I think I can see.
Yeah, no, I do smell citrus occasionally.
The sun stash. Conrad review. Oh, no Conrad reviews live. We can talk trash later. That's not nice.
And we're very nice people.
I mean, I could just like to say 4% kept peanut butter. I don't really want to say anything else because that's.
I don't
not
really
nice.
feel like you need to. I think that's enough. Anybody who is, I'll just leave that there. We're not gonna follow that train of thought, or it's gonna be like a half hour. Right?
It's gonna go even more off the rails.
Oh, hey, quick shout out to John over at Diamondback Vapes. He sent me this sweet Icon RDA. It's pretty cool. He left an enormous coil build in it though that like completely like blew my face off the first time I tried it. These big, huge dual fuse claptons. But it's a pretty sweet RDA. I really like it a lot. It reminds me of what I imagine the recoil must be like. It's got kind of a similar airflow setup. It's a pretty sweet RDA. I dig it a lot. It's got a ton of room to build in. If you're into those, check it out. He sent me a bunch of weird juice too that I've been messing around with a little bit, and then some of it's going to some people who are trying to quit smoking. But shout out, and he sent a Tesla 3, those the mechanical, the neck mods with like the lipos in them. It's a pretty cool mod. It's pretty neat. I haven't had a chance to fuck with it too much yet, but it's pretty cool. So thanks for that, dude. I appreciate it. You guys got anything else?
Rick said he's got cocaine and lube stuck in there from 1978. He wasn't alive in 1978. I don't know.
There's a reason I put that in the chat and not the video, man. We're trying to keep this classy.
So, speaking of Apex, I sent him some of your wire that you use, and I haven't heard back from him. But he wanted Rick's wire. He wanted the exact Concrete River experience.
I need to. Where are you sourcing that from? Because
I've just been getting it from Kidney Puncher.
Kidney Puncher. Because I love Lightning Vapes, man, but they don't have Cantal claptons, and they're not gonna get them anytime soon, and I need shit sooner. So I might check out Kidney Puncher check that shit out while I'm there.
I just like Knifethal because it's basically nickel, but it's actually workable, and theoretically you're not going to die horribly if it dry burns.
Good, because I mean, temp control is nice, but it's not the end all, and there's still something like that I really appreciate about just straight old fashioned like wattage mode with fucking Cantal. Like I like it.
That's what I like too. I don't need to mess with all that. Plus, I'm allergic to nickels, so.
Yeah, that might be an issue.
Nickel tastes like skin green, but I don't know if it would.
No, I'm deathly allergic to it. Like an hour in handcuffs will leave me with like a ring of oozing rawness around my wrists. Just from the nickel.
That explains why you're such a goddamn do-gooder.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I couldn't help it. That was too easy. I would never.
Well, Apexified, for reference, the TCR for that Knifethal 70 is 525. It's right up there with nickel. Nickel is like 600. The Knifethal is 525, so it's still pretty accurate.
Nice. All right. Well, that's about it for today. Looking forward to watching you guys go head to head. So get your recipes to Apexified on Tuesday, by Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. So that he has time to mix them and ship them. Apexified. Jump in the Hangouts link in our Discord. It's there right under the YouTube link. So just hop in there when you get a minute. We'll be in here for a little bit after the show. It's been a great show, guys. Thanks for coming. Have a great weekend. What's left of it. See you later.